Iran has raised fresh conditions for a proposed dialogue with the United States of America, insisting that a ceasefire in Lebanon and the release of its frozen overseas assets must be implemented before the formal negotiations can begin. Notably, the development comes as a fragile temporary truce continues to hold between Iran and US-backed forces, even as deep disagreements threaten to derail efforts in order to turn it into a lasting peace agreement. US Vice President J.D. Vance, who is expected to lead the American delegation in upcoming talks in Islamabad today, warned Tehran not to play Washington, stating that while the United States remains open to diplomacy, it would not tolerate bad faith negotiations. He emphasized that if Iran engages constructively, Washington is willing to extend an open hand, but if it attempts to manipulate the process, the US negotiating team would not be receptive. On the Iranian side, a delegation led by Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi arrived in Islamabad ahead of the talks, with Iran signaling that discussions would not proceed unless its preconditions are met. All these include a verified ceasefire in Lebanon and the unfreezing of an estimated $100 to $120 billion in Iranian assets held abroad due to the sanctions. US President Donald Trump took a hard line in public remarks, claiming that Iran has no cards other than what he described as short-term pressure through control over international waterways. He specifically criticized Iran's position on the strategic Strait of Hormuz, a critical global energy choke point through which a significant share of the world's oil and gas is transported. The talks hosted by Pakistan's government under Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif are being described as a make-or-break moment for regional stability. Security in Islamabad has been significantly tightened and with key routes sealed off around the expected venue as delegations prepare for high-stakes negotiations. Meanwhile, violence continues to escalate in parallel with diplomatic efforts, as in Lebanon, Israeli airstrikes have intensified, including attacks in the south that have killed members of state security forces and Hezbollah-linked personnel. The organization Hezbollah has responded with rocket fire towards Israel territory, stating that its actions are retaliation for ongoing violations of the ceasefire. Israel, in turn, claims that it has dismantled thousands of Hezbollah positions since the conflict escalated. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reportedly assured Washington that military operations in Lebanon will be scaled back, though airstrikes and cross-border attacks continue to fuel instability. The contested maritime and energy implications of the conflict, particularly around the Strait of Hormuz, remain central to negotiations, as disruptions in shipping lanes have already impacted global energy markets and driven inflationary pressure. And despite the ceasefire agreement intended to pause hostilities and open space for diplomacy, mistrust remains high on all the sides, and Iranian officials have stated that they seek recognition of their rights and sanction reliefs, while Washington maintains that any agreement must come through verified compliance and restraint. And with both the diplomatic outreach and regional violence unfolding simultaneously, the outcome of the Islamabad talks remains uncertain, with global attention focused on whether the fragile truce can evolve into a broader and lasting settlement. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment and subscribe to the channel.